this morning we have your headlines for you, and the drama continues in Florham Park, New Jersey, where the Jets have a mandatory minicamp that man Aaron Rodgers is still AWOL from. It's an issue for us, but not inside the building, and that's about it. Craig, do you really believe this isn't a big deal at all?
It's not a big deal. No one inside the organization thinks it's a big deal. The players don't think it's a big deal. The coaching staff doesn't think it's a big deal. The owner doesn't think it's a big deal. The general manager doesn't think it's a big deal. Why? Because they've known about it for months. Like, it's one thing if the star of your team and the face of your franchise no-shows you and you have no expectation that he's not showing up. In this case, he went to the team over a month ago before the dates came out for these mandatory mini camps and said, I made these plans. It's important to me to go do what I'm going to go do. I know you got to fine me. I'll accept the fine. No big deal. And I'll see you come training camps. And that's it. So the fact that we're all finding about it now, which is the rub here, had the Jets come out a week ago, 2 weeks ago, and said, look, the dude's been here every single day. Since the NFL draft. He's working with every guy in the building. Blah, 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 blah. Great teammate, great guy, doing everything we expect. The rehab's great. He's great. He's great. He's great. He's just going to miss 3 days of practice, and he's going to be fined for missing it because you're not allowed to miss mandatory practices. No big deal. But the media in New York, which I've been a part of, as Plax knows, for a very, very long time, we don't like it when we don't know something. And the point that I think the Jets and Robert Saleh were trying to make yesterday is it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. If I say to you as a member of the media that this is a major talking point about the New York Jets minicamp because I'm talking about it, that doesn't mean that they're talking about it. And I'll take that one step further. Robert Saleh has a press conference like every coach does. And talks about, how practice went and how this guy looked, how that guy looked. If the media didn't bring up the Aaron Rodgers story for the second consecutive day, guess what? Nobody's bringing it up. Robert Saleh's not bringing it up. None of the players are bringing it up. So we do this thing. It's a little old media trick. We talk about it and we pretend like it's a big issue to them when in reality it's a big issue to us. Because how dare the New York Jets and Aaron Rodgers not tell us in advance about his travel plans or an event that he's allegedly going to that is important to him. And my question to the national media is, if this were not the Jets, would you react the same way? And the answer is no. And here's where the Jets are. And I've had lengthy conversations with Jet executives over the years about this. This right now is a byproduct of the New York Jets as a franchise and their standing in the NFL as an incompetent clown show over the last quarter century. If this were the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Bill Belichick New England Patriots, teams with success and a track record of winning, this becomes a non-story. We are overreacting to it. And my colleagues here at our network and other national media folks, coast to coast, are overreacting to it because, A, they don't know the Jets that well, and number two, because it's easy to poke fun at the fat kid. And that's all this is. We're poking fun at the fat kid because it's easy. This is not a big issue to the New York Jets. I'll do you one better. When the New York Jets are sitting there at 10-2 this year, is anybody going to go, hey, I guess I shouldn't have made a big deal about Aaron Rodgers missing a practice in June?
No.
And no one's going to have the class to do that, but that's the reality.
Please, man. Hey,
go ahead, Plax.
You know I'm going to give you some, you and the Jet Nation or whatever you call yourself, the harsh reality of this whole thing. This has basically boiled down to a one-year contract with Aaron Rodgers. I want you to enjoy this.
I'm going.
You say it's not a big deal and it's not a story. It is a story because I don't care if it was the New York Jets or not. If it was the Arizona Cardinals, it would be a big story. But why? Because it's Aaron Rodgers. That's not media coverage way up in Green Bay and Appleton, Wisconsin. It's the fact that it's Aaron Rodgers. And you know what? Him missing this time, it may not be a big deal to you, to Robert Saleh. He gets up on the stage and he says, you know what? Me and Aaron are on the same page. Robert Saleh, he does not need to be on the same page with you. He needs to be on the same page with his offense and his wide receivers and getting continuity with the wide receivers that he has 1 year to do it with. And I just love how everybody's saying that this man, who was arguably one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play this game, is going to come in here in one season and do something that's going to transform this organization and this team. In 17 weeks, you expect him to go out there, get it right. This takes time.
It does?
You do not put a quarterback on a football field in one season in a training camp, which is 3 weeks. You get 3 preseason games, which he's not going to play. He's going to step out there the week 1 of this NFL season, and they're going to start off the season 10-2 with him having basically no reps or any game time with these wide receivers in this offense.
I don't want to be this guy, but I'm going to be this guy. You're saying it can't happen, it won't happen.
It can happen, but it's unlikely.
And yet 3 years ago, I watched it happen in Tampa Bay.
I know he's good.
Did I not?
He's not Tom Brady.
Right, he's as good as Tom Brady.
How?
And he knows this offense.
How? Statistically?
He's got a Super Bowl. He's got 4 MVPs. And he's the greatest Packer of all time.
MVPs don't mean nothing.
All right, so here's the difference.
Because it has not resonated into him winning world championships.
Tom Brady went to Tampa, didn't know the system, and won a Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers has his offensive coordinator here and knows the system. So let's do this. Let's take a historical look at Aaron Rodgers' career when he doesn't participate in a stupid mini camp in June.
Okay.
All right, because it's happened 3 other times in his NFL career. Give me my full street stats right now. All right. Oh, interesting. In 3 seasons that he did not participate in a mini camp, the first year, 2011, threw for 4,600 yards, 45 tutties, and only 6 picks. Won an MVP. 9 years later, didn't participate in minicamp, 4,300 yards, 48 touchdowns, and won an MVP. And the following year, again, because he is a bit of a drama queen, no doubt about that, he decides to blow up minicamp again. Why not? Irish MVP and won another MVP. Single-digit interceptions. So don't tell me, Plaxico Burst, that Aaron Rodgers has to show up for some stupid minicamp in June. I rest my case, Your Honor. Thank you very much.
First of all, this is not a courtroom.
Thank God.
But how many, out of those 3 seasons that you just put up there, how many of those seasons did he win a championship?
When did the Packers win their Super Bowl? 2011? Is that what it was? One of those years they won a Super Bowl.
There's only one.
Yeah.
And we're talking about something that he did almost 15 years ago.
Yes.
And when you're putting those stats up on the board,
I have to.
And saying that.
Because June doesn't mean anything.
This is one season that he gets to play. It's no longer a 2-year deal.
I agree. Now.
It's no longer 2 seasons.
Got to win right now.
He has to come in there and do something for you that you probably will never ever see. Is a Super Bowl won by the Jets, and you're hoping that he goes out there and gets. Man, it's not as easy as you guys are making it seem.
It's not easy.
That he's going to come in here and he's going to be something that we have never seen.
You are
from the quarterbacking position.
You are, and you'll be honored. For those of you that don't know, Plax is being honored this season. I think week 1, right? The New York Giants are the 100 greatest players in Giants history, right? So you know, you've lived it, you've experienced it. You can't sell me on 3 days in June out of pads being important.
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that until week 1 of the season, what time does he have to be
basically
in a real game situation with this offense other than the first game of the season?
Yeah, July and August. That's right.
He's not going to play in the preseason.
But there's also experience got to count for something. Right? It has to.
Man, listen.
Dude's been around 20 years.
For him.
Yes.
What about the guys that he's playing with?
Well, we're going to find out, aren't we? We're going to find out, and you'll be a part of this show, knock on wood, this fall, and we can have that every week.
And you'll be up sitting there, Aaron Rodgers played great, but
I'm just going to do that. Here's where I'm at, and I'm sure there've been good luck finding it of a topic me overreacting to, because I just thought, what I've done for 33 years.
Yeah,
but if you can find it, send it in by all means. I got 9 guys scrambling right now to just come up with yesterday's show. But here's the deal: the overreaction by the national media fascinates me, and I know why they overreact to it. And I can own this because I used to be in the same boat. And I didn't change until he became the Jet quarterback. My fandom of Aaron Rodgers exists only because he's got a Jet jersey on and the number 8 on his back. That's the only reason. So I get where they're coming from. But it's ridiculous. If you don't personally like Aaron Rodgers, just admit it. Just say you don't like the guy. You don't like his conspiracy theory stuff. You don't like his vaccine nonsense. You don't like his retreats, his ayahuasca, whatever it is. But you have to separate your personal dislike of the guy from what he does as a football player. Because I separate the two. Aaron Rodgers is a great football player. Our own colleague, James Jones, who used to sit right where Jacoby's sitting, is now part of the Speak Crew, afternoons here on FS1, has said 1,000,000 times over, as a guy that's won a Super Bowl, played your position, that the greatest thrower of the football, in his opinion, in NFL history, is Aaron Rodgers. Well, I take that for what it means from a guy that played football.
You know what? So was Warren Moon. He was one of the greatest throwers of the football.
Okay.
And what did it?
He wasted his good years in Canada. Aaron Rodgers didn't. As you know, he goes to Costa Rica to waste his life.
Man, being one of the greatest throwers and throwing the football means nothing.
No, it means a lot.
Justin Herbert has one of the best arms we will ever see.
Yes.
You think he's going to win the Super Bowl?
I do
Think
not.
he's going to win the championship?
I do not.
All right.
There you go.
Craig, I agree with you on one thing, that a lot of this is the stigma of the Jets logo and the Jets history, but a lot of it is also the stigma of Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
He sort of brings it on himself and the drama that he creates around himself. Let me just remind you, because June doesn't matter, but January does matter. And remember his sort of quotes at the end of the Jets season. He said, quote, "No BS that has nothing to do with winning has to get out of the building."
Yeah.
So don't you think that him missing this mini camp creates a little BS, creates a little distraction, creates a little bit of the drama that comes with the Aaron Rodgers?
But no, it's look, I get that quote. People saying he's being hypocritical, or I heard Nick say he was disingenuous yesterday, and I understand that, and I appreciate guys saying that. But to me, they're all wrong, because this is the most on-brand move for Aaron Rodgers that I could ever expect. This is what he does.
Yeah, on brand for him.
How is it disingenuous if this is what he does? He's always an attention guy. It's always about him, whether he's holding out in Green Bay or making decisions after he goes into a rock or something. This is the most on-brand thing this guy does. Why would I be surprised that a guy who does this just did it again?
Is it a distraction?
That's what I'm saying.
It is not.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter if it's the New York Jets or it's the Arizona Cardinals. We're still going to talk about it because it's
but
Aaron
Plax, here's my
Rodgers.
point. You have to separate us having an opinion about it, the collective media, and what they're saying inside Florham Park, New Jersey, where the New York Jets have their training camp and facilities. We want to claim it's a distraction. But if every single person that plays for the Jets or works for the Jets is telling you it is not a distraction, we decide not to listen to them.
I don't believe that it
Right?
is. What I'm saying is, like you say, the New York Jets have the best roster on paper.
I believe they do.
It's the same exact football team from last year.
Yeah.
We put number 8 under center, and all of a sudden, you have the best roster on football.
Now we changed
How
our
is that
offensive line.
possible?
We improved the offensive line.
Aaron
you know
Rodgers
that.
does not play defense.
We added Hassan Reddick.
He
That
does
helps.
not play defense.
We added Mike Williams. That helps. Right? And here's the other thing. I'm going to say this. I'll be repetitive about it, and I don't mind. There are 2 reasons why everyone's got their panties in a bunch about Aaron Rodgers missing 3 stupid practices in the month of June, where, by the way, nobody's going to get tackled for the next 3 days. All right? 1.
3 months.
1, because it's the Jets. I own that. The Jets are the face of incompetency over a very long period of time, so that's 1. Number 2, it's the way people on a personal level view Aaron Rodgers. Period. Stop. That's why so many people are going bat poop crazy about him missing 3 meaningless practices. Now, if you told me he was a rookie, I'd feel different about it. If you told me he's an inexperienced quarterback who needs as many reps as possible, I'd feel different about it. You're talking about a 20-year veteran with 4 freaking MVP awards running his offense. He don't need 3 stupid practices in June to have a great season. So just be honest with your audience. Be honest and say, this is the same old Jets, and that's why you feel the way you feel. Or say, I don't like Aaron Rodgers on a personal level, so that's going to jade my opinion. Because that's all this is. This is the national media and the local media, I live in New York, having a problem with Aaron Rodgers, the person, and the Jets as a franchise who are historically embarrassing. And until the Jets win, and I've had this conversation with the coach, the GM, and a bunch of other dudes in that franchise. Until the Jets win, they are never going to shed the image and the thought of being incompetent. And knock on wood, they win because they got the best roster on paper.
You know what? I hope they win.
Hey there, thank you so much for watching The Carton Show. You can subscribe right here to get all the latest bits and segments from the show. And by the way, while you're at it, we have a lot of great shows on FS1, so check them out too.